Hello, this is Synthchaser from Synthchaser.com. Today I'm going to show you how to replace your old sliders on your ARP Pro DGX or Pro Soloist with our LED slider kit. Installation is pretty simple. First thing you need to do is take a screwdriver and remove 4 screws here, 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 and here. And that will allow you to open the ARP Pro DGX. The Pro Soloist you'll actually have to open up from the turnover and remove the particle board bottom of the case. Once you remove the screws, you can open it up, and this gives you access to the slider board. Of course, before you remove anything, if you have any slider caps left on your sliders, take them off. On this board there are 5 screws for you to remove. Here, 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 and here. You'll notice that there are 2 here, but you don't need to touch those. These are what holds the octave select switch in place. So before I remove the final screw, I'm going to disconnect the touch sensor, and I'm going to disconnect the output jacks. Now I'll remove the final screw and set it aside somewhere where I won't lose it. And I can simply fold back the board. So you'll see that there may be a tie wrap there which you can cut. Also, there are 2 ribbon cables. One goes down to the keyboard assembly, and we can leave that in place. The other goes down to the filter board, and we'll simply unplug that. Now I'll go ahead and cut that tie wrap off. And now the board will fold down and clear the keyboard. So I can slide the keyboard back, and I have the slider board here, board A, in a position that I can work on it. So I've set the board in my work area. I kind of cleared some of the other cables, worked this underneath some of the other cables, so I have a lot more slack on this ribbon cable. And then you'll turn the board over, and the 4 sliders on the back, they're held in by 5 points. The 3 soldered slider terminals, and then also these standoff things, and they're twisted in place. So with a flat nose plier like such, you'll need to twist them so they're straight. When you twist them back, and this will be hard to see in this video, unfortunately I can't work the camera at the same time that I'm working on the keyboard, but when you twist these back, there's a small metal nub that may protrude, and you can with some wire cutters clip that. Put your finger there because it will go shooting very far and very fast. So you'll twist these tabs straight, and with your desoldering tool of choice, you'll desolder the. This is not warmed up yet. Okay. You'll desolder the slider pins. And then once I get that done, I'll show you how to remove them from the board without damaging them, in case you just want to keep them as backups for whatever reason. So I'll twist the tabs and desolder all the pins, and then show you how to get them out. So once you've got the tabs twisted back and the pins desoldered, it's time to remove the sliders. And you may be tempted to try to pull them off from this side, but that's actually the best way to damage them. A simpler way to remove them is to actually use your pliers and push them. Grab the tab and push the tab from the bottom and kind of work it through the slot. And then the slider will pop right out. And while we have these sliders off, we have real easy access to these capacitors. And these boards aren't plated through whole, so sometimes when there's traces on the top of the board, it's sometimes a little tricky to get the solder and to flow through to make contact with the trace on the top. So while these sliders are off is actually an excellent time to recap your synthesizer using the Synthchaser capacitor kit, which is available on my site as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pop these three off, and we're going to recap this board, and then we'll be ready to put in the new kit. So I've taken off the old sliders, and they look pretty gross. They weren't performing well. They're totally not smooth. But I mean, look at the mess that was under this slider. I mean, something had spilled in there, and it's been sitting on this circuit board and is also inside this this slider. This is a mess. I mean, this under here is a mess as well. So in addition to recapping it, we're also going to clean these boards really well. Denatured alcohol is a good safe product to clean circuit boards with. You can use acetone, which could take off silkscreen, but there's no silkscreen on here. I use denatured alcohol. So we're going to recap this board and clean it up, and then we'll be back. So we've cleaned up and recapped this board. I also cleaned around the switch. All the junk that was there is gone. Clean the flux residue on the back side where the old sliders came off. And now it's time to insert the new sliders. So you get this assembly, the Synthchaser assembly, and they're all arranged in the correct order. The power hookup wires should be facing the side with the ribbon connectors. And then basically you just stick them in the slots for the old one, for the old sliders. Like such. You can put these wires down so they're not in the way. You may need to bend things just ever so slightly to get this sitting to the point where it can be sitting flush against the circuit board. So you don't want the slider to be at an angle. You want it to be completely flat and straight. And then once you do that, you can flip the board over, and while applying some pressure, just solder the three pins that are sticking through 1, 2, 3 for each of the sliders. And then I'll do that, and then I'll come back with you to hook up the power. Some helpful tips about soldering this. You can tack them with a little blob of solder, and then put your finger underneath and push them firmly flush against the board and reflow them. Another thing that you can do is just temporarily screw the board in and make sure that the sliders are sliding freely, not rubbing against the side of the case, and that they're straight, parallel, and not tweaked. And you can continue to tweak that by reflowing and tilting the slider until you get it just perfect. The final step is to hook the power up. The LEDs in this kit use very little amount of current, and they're not going to be taxing on the power supply of your keyboard. So you can actually hook the power directly to the power on the board by tack soldering the wires to the voltage rail. Which is conveniently labeled here. So the red wire is going to go to the plus 15 volts, so you tack solder that there. And the black wire is going to go to the ground, and you can tack solder that there. So I'll do that. Then we will replace the board into the keyboard and make the connections again and test it out. So we've closed the keyboard up and turned it on, and we'll test everything out. Volume. So smooth, not scratchy anymore. Brilliance, the filter. The touch sensor on this keyboard is still broken. As you can see, we still have a bit of work to do on this keyboard. Glide speed, so I'll turn glide basically off. So in a matter of very little time, we changed our old, dirty, gross, scratchy sliders to these really cool LED sliders. Didn't cost much money, and didn't take much time. It was super simple, and now it feels like a whole new instrument. So any questions, please post in the comments. Thanks. Bye.